Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we are looking at a live-action sequel as we take a look at 102 Dalmatians starring Glenn Close. And stay tuned for our bonus story, as sticking in the 101 Dalmatians realm, we are going to do a character profile on Cruella Devill. And if you are enjoying these episodes, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we're covering 102 Dalmatians. This was released on November 13th, 2000. It was directed by Kevin Lima. The story was by Kristen Buckley and Brian Reagan. The production companies was Walt Disney Pictures, and it was distributed by Walt Disney Distribution. The budget for this movie was $85 million, and it did a box office return of $183.6 million. But let's take a look at the production. So the original title of the movie was going to be 101 Dalmatian Returns, but this also changed when original 101 Dalmatian live-action movie writer John Hughes would not return for the sequel. The reason that John Hughes gave was the failure of his previous Disney movie called Flubber and the shutdown of his production company, Great Oaks Entertainment. When the director of 101 Dalmatians, Stephen Herrick, could not return due to scheduling conflicts, it was Glenn Close who advocated for Kevin Lima, as the two had worked together during the making of Tarzan. At that time, Kevin Lima was a character animator for Kala, and Glenn Close was the voice actress for that role. Filmmakers of the movie, because they required so many of the Dalmatian dogs, they would have to replace the puppies every 2 weeks because they would grow too fast. And the film actually featured the 55 spot removal artists. So in order to make the Dalmatian without spots, named Oddball, completely white, the production team tried several different solutions with makeup. This included trying to paint off the spots, plain white suits on the dogs, finding another breed of dog. None of this worked, so eventually they had to digitally remove the spots of the dog playing Oddball in each shot. Originally, this movie was scheduled for summer 2000 release, but it was rescheduled to a Christmas release to coincide with another Disney release at the time, The Emperor's New Groove, and the two would be released as kind of a double feature throughout the Christmas season of 2000. So in terms of the cast, we have Glenn Close, who plays Cruella Devill, Gerald Depardieu, who plays Jean-Pierre Lepelt, Ian Grofeld, who plays Kevin Shepard, Alice Evans, who plays Chloe Simon, Tim McNinery, who plays Alonzo, Ian Richardson, who plays George Tote, and Eric Idle from Monty Python does the voice of Waddlesworth. So in terms of the plot, Cruella Devill has been released from prison and vows to never go near fur again. But the temptation is too hard to resist and tries to make her dream coat once again, and her parole officer, Chloe Simon, is caught in her crosshairs, teamed up with a fur coat designer, Jean-Pierre Lepelt. Cruella will stop at nothing to get the coat she's been bent on creating. So in terms of the marketing of this movie, they would release a soundtrack that featured several songs in the movie on November 7th. And it also featured a remix of Puppy Love that was sung by Myra, and a new Cruella Devill 2000 song performed by Cameron Combone. In order to promote the movie, a teaser trailer was released in front of Toy Story 2, and then a second trailer released in front of Dinosaur. In terms of the legacy of this movie, a video game would be released called 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue, and it would feature Frankie Muniz and Susan Bakesley as voice artists in the video game. And then McDonald's would release a huge campaign for 102 Dalmatians, where they would actually create 102 different Dalmatian toys to be released as part of their Happy Meal program. And then finally, in 2021, Glenn Close revealed that she had created a second sequel script where it would take place in New York City, and it was inspired by The Godfather Part 2. As of this recording, nothing has been progressed with that. So would I recommend this movie? This movie is a great family movie. It's definitely has its humor. They rely more on the human actors this time than the dogs. A lot of kind of cartoony acting from Glenn Close and Gérard Depardieu. So definitely a lot of over-the-top acting, which is great for kind of kids of all ages. The story is pretty basic. It's Cruella's reformed, but then she's not reformed. I do like the section with the oddball, the little puppy dog. I think it's quite funny. And there, Eric Idle has some witty one-liners in this movie. So definitely recommend this one for families. Not going to be one that I watch over and over again, but it's a great little watch, and it's only about an hour and a half long. So as we move on to our bonus story, we're going to take a look at the profile of Cruella Devill. So Cruella Devill made her first appearance in Dottie Smith's novel, 101 Dalmatians, in 1956. She is a glamorous London heiress and a fashion designer, and is most well known for wanting to make a coat out of Dalmatian puppies. So in terms of her appearance in animated films, she was the main villain in 101 Dalmatians, where she was animated by Mark Davis, and her voice was provided by Betty Lou Garrison. Her design was inspired by Tallulah Bankhead and Mary Wykes, and she would be a memorable villain throughout, and we can kind of see that as we go through. She would appear in the 1998 animated series 101 Dalmatians, the series, but by this time her voice artist had changed, and she would be voiced by April Winchell, and she would be the main villain of that series. She would also appear in the direct-to-video sequel, 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure, with Susanna Blakesheet providing her voice. And then in the reboot series, 101 Dalmatian Street, she'd be voiced by Michelle Gomez. She would also have cameo appearances in other Disney series, including House of Mouse, the Simpsons short Welcome to the Club, and the commercial for Givenchy. So she is one of the main Disney villains that gets used over and over again. She would make her several appearances in live action projects as well, including the 101 and 102 Dalmatians by Glenn Close. In the TV series Once Upon a Time, Cruella would be a recurring character in seasons 4, 5, and 7, and she would be played by Victoria Smurfit. And she would appear in the Descendants film, which is a collection of Disney villains, and she'd be played by Wendy Raquel Robinson. And then most recently, she was brought to life by Emma Stone in the prequel movie Cruella. In terms of other appearances, she is often used for meet and greets inside the Disney parks, and she can usually be found on Main Street, as well as during Halloween parties. She is one of the villains featured in the Hollywood Studios versions of Fantasmic. In Disney on Ice celebrations, she is featured in the Halloween party section of the show. And in the recently new show, in Disney Hollywood Studios, new show Villains Unfairly Ever After, she is one of the 3 main villains as part of the show. And this show explains the stories from the villain's point of view. She has appeared in several video games, including Disney's Magic Kingdom, Disney Mirrorverse, and Fortnite. And she would be appearing in novels as well in the Kingdom Keepers book, Power Play, Shell Game, and The Insider. She would eventually have her own book entitled Evil Thing, A Tale of the DeVille Woman, and she would tell her story from her point of view. So she would be actually the protagonist in this one. And then finally, in the Disney Chill series, she would be featured in the 4th volume as well. So Cruella is one of those villains that's always going to be there. She's always going to be used. She's quite over-the-top eccentric, and again, we can see throughout, starting from like 1969 all the way to current times, she's always kind of still relevant. So as far as I know, there is going to be another Cruella movie with Emma Stone, and you never know just where Cruella Devill may pop up from time to time. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would invite anyone to please leave a comment below on what they thought of 102 Dalmatians. And if you have a favorite Cruella Devill moment or memory, I would love for you to share. And as we look forward to our next episode, we're going to be taking a look at a romantic comedy when we take a look at Brown Sugar. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.